Hi, Raminda. It's so exciting to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to hear your story and to hear about what got you into EFT and why you decided to dive into that world and how it's helped you. I know EFT can be really incredible. So let's dive in and hear about you.
Yeah. So obviously, we take care of our physical health, but not the emotional health. It's like when it comes to emotions, because it's a general tendency. Like we have been trained to suppress our emotions and carry on.
And it's so
But
damaging when you do that.
yeah, it's like in general, society, our parents or people around, they tell us that's okay, just go to the party or go to some worship place and change your mood and everything will be okay, but actually it does not. So I started my journey when just the things were piling up, and one day it was like I knew that yes, I am into deep depression and nothing
So
was working for me.
so what led up to that, if you don't mind sharing?
What led to my depression?
If you
Yeah,
don't
it's
mind. I
like,
mean, I can tell you
no,
that I
that's,
have we tend to dive in really deep to the dark parts. I have three kids with special needs, and my husband's been disabled for a decade, and I'm no stranger to those kind of struggles and to mental
yeah,
health and all those different kinds of things. And what I find is that it's a lot easier to see the sunshine when you recognize the darkness.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was a really sensitive child since childhood, like, taking all the things, every statement personally. So it kept on adding to my woes, and yes, one day it was out of my hands. And yes, I was doing a good job, but I left thinking that everybody left, right and center is against me. So that was the time when I actually could not carry my job, and I said, that's it, I cannot carry it anymore. And yes, I resigned from my job. I came back to my home, and I was sitting all the day long in my room with lights off. So my dad used to say that, come down and sit with us. I'll say, yeah, I will. And, I was never keen to join anybody, not even my parents, though they were quite supportive. And then nothing was working out. Finances took a toll because I left my job. And yes, emotions, it was like all the day I was crying. So I used to do a little bit of self healing by Reiki or some guided meditations and all, but then I felt, I mean, this on and off or once in a while things are not working. And yes, I had nothing to do because I was all the day at home, so I started with um, chakra meditations on a regular basis. So it helped me to at least control the daily overwhelm. And then, yeah, I received a mail in my mailbox, that email, that, somebody was having this site, and they were guided videos of 4 or 5 minutes to just try and experience what tapping is all about. And I said, okay, I'll just have a look. And it was like, even though I have this problem, I still love and accept myself. So it was like, okay, I have to check it. So what should I check it on? And we had household help at our place. So I actually got irritated whenever I saw her. So I use this statement, even though her presence makes me irritated. I love and accept myself, and I did 2 rounds of that. And to my surprise, that evening when she came, I was actually more neutral.
And it worked. It worked. Tapping
Yeah.
is actually pretty amazing. And if it's something that anyone who's listening hasn't heard of before, can you dive into what it is more, what exactly you do and say and how you go through that process?
Yeah. It's like we use the same meridian points as in acupressure, but yeah, the pressure is not that hard. We gently tap on the points, the meridian points. We use some points, not all on the body. It's just on the upper body. Till one is collarbone and on the face mainly. So when we actually tap on these points, they are, stimulated, and we combine this physical activity with the emotional blocks or stress or limiting beliefs, whatever our thoughts are, whatever our experiences are, emotional experience. And when we combine these two, so this activation of the meridian points, it helps release the stress from our energy system, and we get more clear.
Yeah, I have absolutely found tapping to be really calming. Like even if that's
Yeah.
and I don't have tons of experience in it, but definitely it's a very calming, and I definitely recommend people try it. So how did your journey with tapping unfold? You saw this little that you were introduced to it through an email, and then you started trying it, and then what happened next?
Yeah. Then I searched for trainer with whom I can actually learn some more at a deeper level, the tapping. Then I found one person whom I felt, yes, I should go to him. And I did my 1.5 days basic course. And yeah, because it was a good tapping time, the workshop, we tapped for most of the time in the workshop. So things came up that yes, I have to work on this and this. And yeah, that was quite a good experience. And I had not I was out of job from last say around a year. And suddenly one of my ex-employers, they contacted me. It was like say around 1 week later of attending the workshop. And they contacted me that what are you doing nowadays? I said nothing, I'm on a break. So they said, okay, if it sounds good, you can join us, we are opening a new branch in your city. And I joined them. And after 1 month, I got a call from corporate sector as well. So I joined them at a good salary. So things kept on changing from there. And then I worked on other things like mm, at that time my age was say 32, and I was still a single. So I worked on my emotions that ways, that why, what is coming in the way, why I'm not getting married. So it actually unfolded a belief that I had a belief, those words came exactly to me, that I had a belief that nobody loves me. And then I worked on it, and I realized that this is just my belief, not the reality. And then once I cleared that, once I cleared the emotional entanglement to that belief, things changed very quickly in my life. I got married after, I mean, within 6 months of clearing this core belief.
Wow. That's amazing. I love this I don't know, this idea, this notion of like as you shift those beliefs, things fall into place. When you're
Yeah.
able to, so talk about that for a minute, because I'm sure that you've really gotten deep into that to that belief work and how tapping can help you clear those beliefs, and then kind of, I don't know, manifesting is the word that always comes up around this, but to help you live the life that you've been dying to live, but you've had all these things holding you back inside.
Yeah, I mean, I have been using tapping from last, say, 11, 12 years. And for tapping, we do say that try it for each and everything and on anything. And yes, I have tried it for everything, means everything. Like sugar cravings, that's another experience. Uh, like you can say that, yes, I'm conscious about what I'm eating. But then I suddenly noticed that, yes, if it's like after meals, somebody if offers me, I'll say, no, I don't eat, I mean, sugar too often. That's okay. But at times, just subconsciously, I mean, just, in the kitchen, I'll just open a cupboard and just munch something sweet. So it was like I noticed that otherwise, when it's time, or when some, I mean, when others are taking, I'll say no, I don't want, and I actually don't, I mean, feel like. But when my attention is not there, I'm taking it. So what is
So
actually,
mindfulness
yeah.
is essential in all this, of like being like, I was just saying this to my kids earlier today, that like awareness is the first step of pretty much everything. You have to be
Yeah.
aware. You have to be aware that you're feeling depressed or you're feeling unfulfilled in order to make a change. You have to be mindful that you have started mindlessly eating, right? If you don't stop
Exactly.
yourself like partially through that, then you can't do the things that are gonna fix it.
Yeah, then I tapped on it that even though I have sugar cravings, and to my surprise, it was like, I realized that by eating sugar, I feel, I mean, it's a connection between me and my father, because my father actually loves, sweets or sugar. I mean, he is fond of eating sweets. So, though consciously I'm not eating it, but to feel connected to my father, I am just behaving like him, eating sugar. I hope you understand. It's the connection
Oh,
between
I
us
do
two.
understand. And I when I first was introduced to tapping, it was somebody who did tapping for weight loss. And so we talked about all of these things about like underlying reasons for eating. And I think it's amazing to look at it through that lens, because it can actually apply to every part of your life, not just eating. But it's like, why are you doing this behavior that you know you shouldn't be doing? It's probably not just because you love that behavior. It's probably got some deeper reason that is really, under, it's subconscious, and you have to think about it, and you have to take the time to be really mindful and sit there and go, what is the reason? What is it connecting me to? What do I really feel when I'm doing this thing? And a lot of times we associate food with our parents and with love, or with some other, loving figure from when we were a kid, because I mean, I don't think this has happened in all of humanity, but over the last few decades, or more, food is heavily associated with good times.
Yeah.
We celebrate with food, we connect with food, food, and it's usually sugary food. And so if you know, are trying to eat less sugar, which is tends to be a good thing to do, then
Yeah.
right, then figuring out like, oh, I feel loved when I eat cookies because my grandma always made cookies, right?
Yeah.
And then going, wait a minute, I can feel that love without cookies. I don't even like the cookies that much. I just wanted that connection to be reminded of it. And so that's exactly what you're diving into, about how powerful this can be, but we can apply it to all areas of our life, you know. One of the
So
things.
then I worked on it, that to be connected to my father on an emotional level, I don't need to eat sugar. I mean, he is my father, and
Yeah,
he loves me, and I love him unconditionally. So it's not,
yeah.
sugar is not needed to be a channel for the love.
It's so hard to change those those things that are woven into who we are from the time we're little kids. Like for my family, um, I guess I could just tell you that I actually had weight loss surgery 2 years ago. So I used to be about 100 pounds heavier, and I come from a big family. So weight loss is very familiar to me. Maybe not weight loss, but you know, that whole being a plus size girl, that is very much, I still identify with that. And part of the reason is because my family was all big, right? And it was like, we are a big family. We don't exercise, we celebrate around food. Like this is who we are as a group. And it was like unhealthy this, unhealthy that. And it can be really hard to still be connected in an emotional, loving way, but separate yourself from the negative behaviors. Not that they're totally negative, but they can be done in excess to try to feel that connection even more.
Yeah, and even weight issues can have different dimensions, you can say. Like one of my clients, she always felt that yes, her parents don't give her attention. So she had, I mean, pretty good weight. So when we worked on it, so it was like she gained weight to increase her size, so that, I mean, it was just a subconscious thing that yes, if I'm bigger in size, I'll be more visible.
It's so interesting that you give that example because I've heard so many examples of the opposite, and I think that they are both true. So many
Yeah,
people subconsciously gain weight out of fear of being
yeah,
seen, and they believe if I'm, you know, bigger, then people won't really pay attention to me, and I
yeah.
won't get hurt again. And that a lot of that can stem from like sexual abuse and childhood trauma and just like, and it's so so sad, but it's so interesting to see the opposite perspective and how that can also be totally true and something that maybe other people can relate to more than the other. And it's just, it can work on so many levels, and I love that.
Yeah, definitely. I have another client whose belief was that if I am fat, I mean, if I'm more, like bigger in size, so men will not be attracted to me because I don't want, as I'm married, and I don't want anybody to see me, as an attractive woman. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So how did your journey
so,
progress?
um, so it's just like, these are that, yes, then I told you that I worked on my relationship status, that yes, I was single, and then I worked on it and I got married. And then yes, When I got married soon after that, I was blessed with my son and I was busy with him. And then it was like, yes, it's time to go back to work. But that was for sure that I was not going to corporate sector again. And yes, I had a flair for, say, energy healing things. So it was not exactly, but yeah, I did my workshop for EFT, the level 1, level 2. And then it was like I had to do some practice sessions to get my certifications. And when I did my first practice session with, otherwise I was on the client side only till then. So when I gave my first session, then I realized that, yes, I have to do this.
Yes, it's in the doing. I love that. It's in the doing that we actually, we kind of get the clarity that we've been looking for. Like sometimes you can't really know until you're in it and doing it.
Yeah, and then it comes naturally. What happens is that while working with the client, um, it's okay. The session goes in a flow, and then if I'm just reading my notes, even I'm surprised to read that. Oh, I did this. I guided the client in this way. So it's more like energy guides you. It's more of that kind.
Oh, it's true and it's
So
beautiful.
yeah, if the client, if the person who is working is ready for the change will happen. So we cannot say that I'm doing it. No, we are just the channels. It's it more depends on the person, how person's readiness, how ready he or she
Yes.
is for the
That is
change.
so, so true. I'm a self-care coach for burnt out moms, and I have seen that in my business as well, that you can't just put transformation on somebody. You can't just teach them everything you know and expect their life to change. It just doesn't work like that. They have to be ready. They have to want it so badly that they will dive into those deep, scary parts because we have to work through that trauma in order to get to the other side where there's healing and beauty.
Yeah. You must have also experienced, I mean, when we start as coaches, or it's like we think that, yes, I'll help that person, I'll help that person. I mean, he or she is having this problem in his or her life, so because I know the techniques, I'll help them. But until unless they are ready to take the next step, we actually cannot help them with any of the techniques or our experience.
That's so true. That's absolutely true. Sorry, my 8-year-old's homesick from school and somebody knocked on the door. And so he's like, Mom, someone's here. And someone knocked on the door. So the dog goes nuts. Kids, right?
Yeah,
Oh, good. 1 second.
yeah.
so, so keep going and I'll mute myself.
And yes, I mean, in the journey, I've realized that working in pieces does not give you that result which you can get by just being consistent. Maybe you work for 5 minutes a day on a regular basis, but be consistent with that. You can have a longer work at some intervals, but don't leave your practices, because yeah, then we fall back to our old patterns. And the daily because yes, we are human beings, we are living in this society, we have people around us, something or the other happens, and we then again fall in the trap. So if we keep on going with our things, and yes, we watch our emotions and our feelings often, it gets easier for us to just check, I mean, just know when we are going on the other side. And it's time to take care of our emotions like we take care of our physical body.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so culturally expected that you work out and you eat healthy, and it's such an important thing, but emotions get thrown by the wayside.
Yeah, it's like everybody tells us, yes, do exercise on a daily basis, but nobody says that just watch your breath on a daily basis. Nobody tells us that. Just see, I mean, if you are uneasy, you need to just uh, take a look what is happening inside and what is making you uneasy. Rather, we are being told that just divert your attention so that it goes on the back foot and bothers us at a later stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that it's this whole idea of like you practice, lifting weights, you practice moving your legs, and maybe I guess what we're really practicing is our heart health, right? When we do cardio, we're working on keeping our heart healthy. We're practicing pumping blood, but are we practicing feeling good?
Yeah, and it is actually, if we take care of our emotions, it actually helps us in our physical health as well, because somewhere or the other these physical problems show up because they want to tell us something about our emotions.
Yeah, that's absolutely something that we are not taught, and that we're trying to, you know, talk about more because it's so important. But our body, holds those emotions. Our body holds the trauma that we experience. And like a lot of, inflammation and stuff is caused from our emotions. It's caused from our stress. I mean, it's a really like scientific biological thing, is that you feel stressed out, and then your body oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose the word. It's it secretes cortisol. I literally losing my mind today. Cortisol. You get really stressed out. Your body then responds to your mental stress with cortisol, and then cortisol causes inflammation, and inflammation causes like basically every disease, as far as as far
Yeah.
as I know. I mean, and so it's like all of those things, they're actually all caused by stress.
Yeah, like once I was working with a client for her knee problem. I mean, she had constant pain in her knees, and what came out, I mean, while halfway the session, I asked her like, uh, legs or knees, they support us, they support our body to move forward. So what do you think? So yes, she came to the point that yes, when it started, the time around when it started, I felt very much unsupported, and her body showed it, manifested it in the reality. And when she worked for, say 3 4 sessions, things were different for her because she came out of the feeling that she's unsupported.
Yes, that's amazing. And it's so fascinating to look at our pain in that way. Like, where is your pain actually coming from? I mean, I swear it's at least half, but it feels like way more, closer to 90% of the time, that you go to the doctor for something and they have no answers. And they're like, here's a cover up.
Uh, yeah, yeah. But yeah, medicines have their own role. I never tell my clients that I mean, if you're working with me, then you can stop your medicines. No, that's okay. But yes, working on our emotions changes the equation.
Ooh, that's a great way to put it. when we work on our emotions, it changes the equation. And it's really true, like how our body functions. Like it's just so important for us to learn more about how our body works, how our mind works in relation to our body, and then how our experiences in our lives, our traumas, our joys, our pains, how that all feeds into how we physically feel, because it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, and I worked on my own physical health, like when I was in the start of my practice. So, and in the meantime, COVID lockdowns were there. So I was not earning at that time. So it's like, and yes, social contact was minimized and all that stuff. So I developed a problem in my feet. I could not walk.
Oh no.
I mean, I was actually bed bound, and I got my x-rays done and each and everything, but nothing was there. And because I thought maybe um, my foot, it twisted somewhere, and maybe I have a hairline fracture or something, because nothing was working. So I got my x-rays even done. I went to the orthopedic doctor as well, but there was nothing, and I was not able to walk.
It's the
Then,
worst. It's the worst
yeah,
thing, the worst feeling when you're like, okay, doctor, I'm in pain. And they're like, yeah, but there's nothing wrong. So good luck with that. You're like, but it feels awful.
yeah, those 2 3 months were really awful. And other thing was like, I was like, oh, I'm just 40 and I'm not able to walk. How am I going to carry on the rest of my life? And then when I worked on it, I realized that yes, my mind was telling me that I cannot carry my own weight. And it clicked that I cannot carry myself. It was like I cannot carry myself, even myself. And then I realized that it is reminding me that I'm taking my financial things too seriously. And that was the time I actually, when that statement, it was like, I'm not able to carry myself. It was like that. When the moment I realized I'm not able to carry myself, oh, my mind is talking about my financial situation. And I actually laughed. Oh, how funny it is. I'm actually blessed. So there's no need to think that ways. And to my surprise, I mean, it can be an exception. I'm not saying it can happen. With each and every client. I mean, if everybody processes in a different way. But yes, for me, my foot actually it was unlocked, and I moved it, and I tried it 4 or 5 times. Oh, is there is does it again gets locked? But it was nowhere. And
That's
after
amazing.
yeah, 4 or 5 days, it was perfectly all right.
That's an amazing, amazing story. So tell us where we can find you, how we can follow you on social media, if you have a website or anything for your practice. Tell us all the things.
Yeah, I have my FB page and Instagram profile in the name of Soul Connections with Coach R.
Awesome. So we'll go follow you on Instagram and all the places so that we can find out more about all the things that you do to help people, because you have such an amazing practice and so much experience, like helping people, including yourself, which is always essential, right? We can't really teach what we haven't been able to, work on ourselves, right? To help
Yeah,
people.
working on ourselves is
Yes.
even more important so that we can give our clients a safe space.
Yeah, absolutely, because that helps us to be more compassionate, and it helps us to know what the process is really, and to know what it really entails. It's very,
Yeah.
very essential. I love that. So as we finish up today, do you have any final words of wisdom to share with us? Any final advice for people?
It's just like that, yes. Don't hesitate to take help of a coach or a therapist, because with the help of a coach or a therapist, you are just helping yourself to shorten your journey from 5 years to maybe 5 months or 6 months. And believe me, it's the best investment you can make in yourself.
Oh,
And
I love it.
don't be ashamed to take help of a coach, because yes, our mind can trick us. I mean, it's like, because it knows that how to trick you. But when you are with a coach or a practitioner, it's like your mind is not in the driver's seat, so it's more open.
Yes, and we always need somebody who's kind of on the outside to look with a clearer perspective. I
Yeah.
absolutely believe, which is it's such an amazing, amazing way to, like you said, to speed up your journey. Because
Yeah.
you can fight through it on your own, and it can be so much harder and so much more painful and so much longer than if you have somebody who's been there before, who's also had their own journey and fought through it and gone through those things, because then they can help you with wisdom that only comes from having gone through it already. And it's like you look back in hindsight and you're like, oh, I could have done that better, and oh, I could have done that better. And that's why coaching is so amazing, because now you have somebody telling you, oh, don't do it this way, do it this way, just trust me, I've been there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, awesome. This has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the Seeking Sunshine podcast. And I guess I have
Thank you.
one final question for you, and that is, how have you been able to seek sunshine in everything that you've been through?
Okay, I told you, when I was in depression, so though things were dark at that time for me, but I believed that there must be some way, and the whole of the life cannot go on that way. And I believed in that universal power. And at that time, I just wholeheartedly, I requested the universe to send that single ray of hope to me so I can come out of it. And my belief
Oh,
paid off.
I love that. Belief is so, so essential. And that is such a beautiful, like, sparkle of sunshine. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on. And I hope that you have an absolutely amazing day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye.
Bye bye.